And welcome back. We have two more sessions, and then we're going to have the final Q&A session after that and recap and summary. We're going to look at the professional services that we offer via Guerilla Leadership, and we're going to look at two of them. And Hans is with us, and he's going to share. So Hans, I'm going to turn the mic over to you. I'll leave my video up, but I'm going to turn my mic off. So take it away.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for inviting me here to talk about the professional services. So during the day, we have talked quite a lot about the 18 mindsets of guerrilla leadership. And it is amazing framework that makes amazing difference in organizations when it comes to productivity, efficiency, delivering value and change in organizations. So what we're doing with the professional services is really to ask ourselves, how can we make this very, very concrete? How can we help organizations practically to implement these 18 mindsets? And for that reason, me and Andrew have developed these professional services to actually make this very, very concrete, to understand how mature are you when it comes to guerrilla leadership, when it comes to efficiency, effectiveness, and how do you do the power of one and other tools and mindset in a very practical way. So this is the professional services, which is available and something that we use quite a lot to understand sort of where are we on our guerrilla leadership journey in that sense. So I'm going to show a couple of slides with services that are available. The first one is really about the power of one. And this is something we use quite a lot with management teams to help them to prioritize what is the power of one, what is the one thing that we need to focus on right now. We cannot do all the things, but this is a tool that we use, a workshop that we do to help organizations to prioritize. And the way it works is really that we start with a vision, like everything else in guerrilla leadership. We start with a vision about where you want to be in the next 3 to 5 years. What is important to you? How do you want to define success? And based on that, we cascade that down to objectives, because the vision needs to be concrete in some way. We need to define what that vision is made of and what kind of objectives are important. So what we do there is really that we look at in this case 3 different objectives and saying that, well, which one is most important? If we could prioritize one, which one would that be? And in this case, it would be the one to the right. We give it percentages where we break down the nodes, and the percentages always equals 100%. Every objective that I know of have challenges. If an objective doesn't have challenges, it's not an objective. So what we need to do here is really to understand what are the challenges that are hindering us from reaching that objective. And this is what we do in this mind map, or this tree, where we look at, okay, what are these? And we brainstorm around what are the challenges that we see at the moment. And once again, we break it down, we set percentages, we prioritize each of the nodes, and so on. And based on the challenge objectives or the challenges, we can also then look at what are the logical solutions in that same way, and where we break down the objectives and say, okay, what do we need to do to mitigate the challenges so we actually reach our objectives and achieve our vision. And by doing this, we can actually start to see that, calculate percentages. How much in percent does one solution contribute to the overall vision? If you would spend, if you have $100 or $100,000, where is the best spend? Where do you get the most value for the money? It is obviously in the areas with the highest percentage. And what we see often in organizations is that they are very good at setting some sort of vision objectives, and then they go directly down to solutions and and actions. And without the connect, without alignment, not understanding the challenges that organizations have, and also that was something we see that approximately 30% of all the solution and actions do not contribute to the vision itself. It doesn't bring any value. And it's something we call waste, more or less. So this is an excellent tool to do. And this is a snapshot of how it looks like today. If we would go 3 or 6 months into the future, it would probably look like something else, because we have invested in mitigating challenges, and other challenges would arise or come in. So it's an excellent tool that we use to focus on the power of one mindset. So this is something that we do. This one is the second thing that we do, and this is really condensing the whole Guerilla leadership framework into one assessment tool. It took some time actually to do that, to see that we got all the different mindsets and theories and practice or experience captured in these assessments. And what we do is we call it business excellence, and we look at from efficiency and effectiveness. And especially when it comes to, in most of these cases, when it comes to the agile way of working, or IT and management and so on. So what we do is that we can look at where are the strengths and weaknesses in the current way of working? Where are the frictions that we want to eliminate? So this is an excellent way of identifying and eliminating the frictions. And by doing so, we can actually improve productivity quite a lot. We have examples by doing this technique, by identifying frictions, eliminating frictions over time, we can actually improve productivity with up to 400%. We have a lot of customer cases when it comes to using these kind of models, and it's not uncommon that we see organizations with 75% friction in the organization. So what does that actually mean? That means that you need 4 times as much resources to actually deliver results as necessary. So if you would invest $100 in the business, $75 would be wasted in friction. Only $25 would actually bring the organization forward. So this is something that we do quite a lot, is to understand what is the level of friction, what is the level of flow in the organization, and what do you need to do to get this started. And in both of these cases, both of these assessment tools, we look at, when you have everything and we look at leadership, we look at vision, we look at operating model, we have the 4D, we have 4R, we have all the things in there to see that we actually are working the right way. So this is something that is hyper important, super important to get started and to continue and leverage the flow framework.
And the example that Jay shared earlier in Cascading Vision was we use this tool to generate those results and those heat maps. And remember, when you assess, you're trying to get your baseline, and then you want to align and activate. We use these heat maps to get everybody aligned and to get them activated. And as they start to understand what we're doing, they can start to accelerate. And then we come back and we measure anywhere from 3 to 6 months again later. And so it's a quarterly process, a quarterly cadence in measuring, because we started with a baseline and we're able to continue to measure and show them forward progress. So a lot of these red and yellows start to turn from, the reds go to yellow and the yellows go to green. And if we were to go back to the one that Jay shared, you would have seen that a whole bunch of those dots on the left side were, I guess left side's over here on the camera. All of the ones on the left side they look just like this picture here, a lot of yellow and red. And the ones on the right side had a lot more green. They still had yellow and a couple reds here and there. And so you only have to tip a few of them to get amazing results back. And so this is really powerful. And like Hans is saying, if we can do this in just a couple slides and really show them this is where we need to go. This is what we need to do.
Yeah.
And I think what is brilliant about this is also it makes it very, very concrete. This is actually saying that these are the 3 areas or that you can focus on tomorrow. Is where you can actually start doing concrete things to actually change the journey and start to improve efficiency and effectiveness of your business and all IT. So yeah.
We have videos out in our playlists where you can see like a full hour and a half of training on the power of one. And we also have done other videos that show this along with a portfolio level Kanban flow as well. And so we have a ton of depth of content that you can use to get trained on how to do this. And there are a lot of the coaches in this session today that are available that can actually do this for your organization, including Jay and Mark and Glenn and his team, Matt and Bob. I mean, there's a lot of people here that can actually do this level. We got about 3 minutes left in this session. It's a very drink from the fire hose, super high speed, showing you what we do at a very detailed level. Questions, comments, observations?
I think from a fire hose perspective, Andrew and Hans, the big takeaway is change is possible. It's an incremental thing. You rarely go from red to green. You won't flip them all at the same thing. It's not like a big game of Othello where you put the right piece in and everything flips. It will be strategically flipping row after row after row, making headway, dropping back, reassessing, and then moving forward, all of which is part of that, our cyclical, our iterative process of doing this. And it's completely delivery model agnostic.
Yeah, and I really like that because what we're trying to do here is saying that change is possible if you do it in a structured way. You cannot flip all the red or yellow at the same time. You need to select a few and start with somewhere very focused, and then you change the scope. So very much a very structured way to get that flow into the organization and get in the efficiency gains.
Focus on a couple and move. Move on those and then next couple and move on those. I
have a question. How good are you at identifying, say, a core issue that if you resolve that issue, or at least get started at working on that issue, that it will break loose some of these other more minor issues, but start to create some more aha moments, for instance, with people and build, allow it to coalesce and build momentum towards solving other issues.
Yeah, this is a very concise, quick way to show the asymmetries. And you're absolutely correct. If you can correct the vision ones, that has a downstream effect on everything else. It's all part of the flow formula.
Yep. And you might change, but you might focus on 3 and you impact 5 of those.
Or
and
6.
two is just, because you change those 3s and you improve those, the other 2 react to that too. So, yeah.
Yeah, good question. Cool. We've burnt up our time on this session. I hope we whetted your appetites and you want to know more. So we're going to go ahead and end this session here, and we'll see you in the next session. Thanks. Thanks, Hans.